So for BU, 4 guys, you kind of knew this night was coming, but what does it feel like now?
Well, I'm just happy for all those guys. I mean, I know how important the draft is to players this day and age. I mean, the draft's always been important to every hockey player, but, you know, just in the last 10 years, the draft's taken on a life of its own, and, you know, it's just, it's an exciting time. You know, it's a moment that they'll never forget. You know, in 48 hours, it'll be back to reality, and, you know, you're still going to be a player, and they're all great players, and they're all going to have great futures, and, you know, it was exciting and fun to watch them all enjoy the moment.
And now there's 4 teams entrusting you to develop them. So pressure?
There's always pressure, and we put it on ourselves, and we owe it to the player to try to make them the best player and the best person they can be, whether they're drafted in the 1st round, 7th round, or not drafted at all. And, you know, we've got a great locker room. We've got great kids in our locker room, and you know, we think we've got a lot of good players, and not just the guys that are here that get drafted. We've got a lot of good players that are returning from last year's team, and we've got a lot of good players coming in that weren't drafted tonight in the 1st round. And you know, it's just, you know, it was a great night for these guys as individuals, and it was a great night for BU.
Clayton said that he helped the recruiting process because he was an early commit for you guys. How much do the guys feed off each other in that regard?
I think without question, it's, you know, when a kid commits to a school, they're trying to figure out who's going and, you know, how good the team's going to be. And, you know, Clayton was the first guy that committed to us, you know, when I took the job back in May of 2013, I think it was. And, you know, we'd already had Jack in the fold, but Jack hadn't played at BU yet. So I think, you know, once that happened, it really got the ball rolling. And, you know, Steve Greeley and Albie O'Connell and Scott Young have done a phenomenal job. And, Powers as well. I mean, you know, these guys are from Vancouver and St. Louis and, you know, Minnesota and Long Island, and it wasn't like these guys were right under our nose. Those guys had to go out and identify the talent, build the relationships. They worked their tails off recruiting them, and they you know, those guys deserve all the credit. They did a phenomenal job recruiting and put together this class.
A great night, not just for BU, but for college hockey as a whole. Another sign of the positive trend line of where our talent level's going.
Yeah, I mean, it's just college hockey is certainly in a great position right now, and I think one of the things people are realizing is that there's a lot more to making it to the NHL than just having NHL talent. And I think that one of the things that college hockey does a great job of is you know, creating the other characteristics that you need to have success in the National Hockey League: the work ethic, the nutrition, the mental toughness, the perseverance, being challenged every day in practice and in games. I mean, if you're a first-place team in college hockey and you play the last-place team and you're not ready to play, you're going to lose. You know, if you're a very talented player and you don't show up to play at your best, you're not going to have a good night. I mean, college hockey holds you accountable. And I think that's what happens in the National Hockey League, and I think it's a great segue to the National Hockey League. I think more and more people are realizing that.
And it's not just, we had a Finn that's going to play college. We had 3 Canadians in the 1st round taken tonight. It's the best players in the world coming to find college. Are you discovering that as you talk to players that are thinking about where they want to play?
Yeah, without question. I mean, you know, it's, you know, the hockey world's a small world, but it's spread out all over the world. So you've got to be ready to go travel and identify the kids that you want in your program, not only as athletes, but as people and students. And, you know, it takes a lot of work. And, you know, we don't care where they're from. We're going to identify the best player that can come to BU and do the best he can athletically, academically, and socially. And if we go to Sweden or Finland or Guam, it doesn't matter. You gotta go find them. And like I said, Albie and Steve Greeley and Scotty Young and Buddy Powers, they did a phenomenal job doing that.
To speak of one specific place, BC, the BC League had 3 players drafted tonight coming to college. How good is that league in terms of producing college talent?
It's a great league. It's always been a great league, and I'm not surprised. You know, I think kids out west are finding more and more that you don't have to go play in the WHL to get drafted high, or play on the under-18 team, or play on the World Junior team. And, you know, these guys certainly are a fine example of that, and hopefully it continues that trend and we get more of them.